This is Newsroom Live, 7:36, story time. When I started in the business, we were not focused on streaming. That's how long ago it was. Instead, we were focused on the broadcast. At that time, things were kind of transitioning in terms of social media and stuff, but the information that people got was still mostly via the newscast. Now, because of the advancements of technology and this, you can pretty much plug into what's happening anywhere, anytime. You know it, you're doing it, your kids are doing it, your college students are doing it, my 7-year-old can do it if he wants to. Of course, there's parental controls, but with everything that's happening around the globe, it's impossible to be tuned out unless you intentionally want to be. But there's a doctor joining us, and he's an expert when it comes to what being too tapped in can do. Welcoming Dr. Ken Ro, Kenneth, official name, but Dr. Ken Ro, thanks for being with us on Newsroom Live, Doctor. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's my pleasure, Stephanie.
You know, why don't you kind of just start with what your concerns are for people that you see, talk to, or those you can advise when it comes to kind of protecting your health in the midst of all this?
Well, the world has really changed in the past, even 10 years, 5 years, rapid development of technology.
Right.
Our stress response hasn't really changed much in 200,000 years. It was supposed to keep us in survival mode, but today, now we're in this distraction epidemic. You're turned on all the time. And even when you get home and you want to wind down, you're winding down with scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not turning off your brain. And that's really taking a toll on your body and your health. We estimate that 90% of medical visits are stress related.
Really?
So it is a big problem.
Doesn't it feel like it's just been a roller coaster of stress ever since the pandemic? I mean, it's just been thing after thing. I could talk about it more anecdotally because, of course, I'm a journalist, so I'm talking to people as I'm covering headlines. But what's your professional take on that?
Well, we've normalized it, right?
Right.
I mean, it's just part of life. Life happens. I mean, I can sleep when I'm dead. We just deny recovery, and we just kind of underestimate how much stress takes a toll on our bodies
You know what's
and our health.
interesting? You know what's interesting, doctor? Because I'm looking at this from the perspective of a journalist, because I often hear people say, and this is even before social media was what it is today, I don't want to know when we're talking about those headlines. And of course, I'm a journalist. I'm like, you need to be informed. But, tapping out or sort of disconnecting from being informed on current events, but scrolling anyway for your entertainment, it's all part of the problem, right, doctor?
It's FOMO, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even have that terminology up until about 5 years ago, but literally, we are so entertained by notifications in our phone that we just don't want to let that go. So we'll take our phones in the bed with us. It's the first thing that we pick up when we wake up. We don't even get out of bed. We're scrolling our phones. And what it's leaving is a very severe imprint of chronic stress on our body and our minds. And it's really affecting our health.
So I want to get into kind of the data that you have, but before we jump there, I want to ask you, obviously people do need to be informed, especially when there's domestic and global issues that could really affect your life, right? So taking it
Agreed.
to your kids, I mean, I'm told all the time, because I research everything. Of course, I'm a journalist, with my son, he's 7 years old. It's like, you can't demonize technology because that's the world. And to your point, it continues to evolve. So the world that he'll be living in. But how can you kind of protect yourself? Like, is it about having limits? Is it about learning to compartmentalize it? I mean, what are some suggestions?
You got to have boundaries,
Right.
and you have to fiercely protect your sleep and fiercely protect your recovery. Stress is not bad. Stress is supposed to make us stronger, acute stress, but we're built for sprints, not for marathons.
Mm,
So this chronic stress is just constantly depleting us to a level that, and it's very insidious, very subtle,
right.
but it really affects our decision making. It affects our mood, and it definitely affects our health in some very profound ways.
It's interesting, like aside from information, which can be at your fingertips, with entertainment specifically being at your fingertips now, does that really tap into the factor where people are losing sleep? Is it, we've talked to experts when we've covered different stories here as a news team about, social addiction. I've done stories about different things that can contribute to sleep not being priority, right? So there's the mixture of, most people, especially if they have kids, dual income homes or single income homes, they're working a lot, right? So there's other factors that can take away from sleep, but is it because it's so easy to just kind of lie down, but then still stay plugged in, that people are losing in that arena?
I completely agree. I mean, if you become curious about sleep and you understand how important it is, and just, I mean, we've all been there, even daylight savings time, right? We've all been sleep deprived. And how are you that next day? I mean, you're just not thinking your best, you're not feeling your best. And so if you become sleep deprived for a week, a month, years, and that is just it literally has taken such a toll on your body. It's shrinking up your brain. It's giving you risks for Alzheimer's disease. It's also giving you risk for heart attacks and strokes, cancer. I mean, some serious
High
stuff.
stress can lead to
But
some serious
yeah, we
things.
just we
Yeah.
have to have a boundary on it.
So, doctor, you're saying high stress can lead to some serious conditions down the road. Get to some of the stats and information. I mean, you mentioned something in the 90 percentile when it comes to stress related visits. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, in the ER, particularly for guys, guys have to justify a reason to come to the doctor, right? I mean, we got to be pulled kicking and screaming to go to the doctor. And so it's like we're going to hide our stress into something like abdominal pain or I feel bad or something non-specific when you really trace it back. And this is what I've really done with my career. It's like I've taken, all the patients, I've really thought about it, researched it, who have come in with heart attacks and strokes, and I've really reverse engineered those conditions. And I said, where does it start?
Mm-hmm.
And the research is really shocking. It didn't start that day. It started 20, 30 years ago,
Wow.
when we could have probably had some prevention. But we're taught to push through. We've kind of rewarded stress and kind of replaced the dealing with stress with terms like grit and resilience when
Mm.
we're really not dealing with stress well at all.
You know what's interesting, doctor? I think about other factors, right? The economy, it's something a lot of people are talking about, dealing with rising costs. That can lead to stress. So there's that concern. There's the things that are happening overseas that a lot of people are tapped into. A lot of people are stressed about travel right now because of the waits at the airports. It's like I'm trying to leave to get a little relief, and now I might miss my flight. It's just factor after factor. And you talk about simple science-backed strategies to kind of like reverse a little bit or like gain some ground, habits and mindset shifts. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, a lot of it, there's two things, there are two parts of it. I mean, number one, you have to be anticipatory towards things that are going to be stressful. You have to label it properly. You can't just say, oh, it's just stress, or, this is just temporary, because, it's really not the way your body reacts to it. So there's the anticipation part of it. And there's this concept now called stress intelligence. I mean, we know about emotional intelligence, but stress intelligence is something that happens before emotional intelligence, because stress takes your emotional intelligence offline. So there's anticipation of it. And also when you're in the moment, when you're in the storm, you have to
Yeah.
have some awareness about it, be able to step away from it and name what you're feeling. That
And
helps
be able to talk about it,
tremendously.
right, doctor? Like, I mean, before you go to the
Exactly.
ER, like talk about it,
Yes.
right? You know, it,
Absolutely. We have to normalize the discussions and the conversations.
right.
We can't, or we have to just in a productive manner. We just can't sit there and say, "Oh, he handles stress great, so we're going to promote him." That can't be a positive factor in our society.
It's interesting as you're talking, my mind is jogging because people normally associate stress with mental health, but you're saying that you can kind of be in denial about the stress or kind of celebrating yourself because it's considered a badge of resilience, or maybe people are like, oh, look how you handle it all, right? And then it can actually turn into an ailment, something that's wrong with you, a disease, a condition.
It's like I always say, you look great on the outside, but you're eroding on the inside.
Jeez.
You handle stress, but you don't recover.
Hmm.
And it's just making you sicker and sicker until you get to the point where you have an event, and then you come see me in the ER. You want to try to avoid that.
You want to avoid the health event. So what are some signs, some tips? How can people kind of check in with themselves and note that they are being overly stressed and kind of, set some time to unplug or to, take a yoga class or whatever you got to do, factor in walks in your daily routine. So what are some tips on how people can identify and try to be proactive?
Well, I think you got to look at some of the subtle signs. When you're waking up in the middle of the night, when you can't unwind to go to sleep, when you start missing things that are good for you, you start missing workouts, you start missing walks outside, and you just feel tired and you feel brain fog. And then you chalk it up to getting older.
Mm-hmm.
That's really dangerous. So I think a lot of it is awareness. But a lot of it is being also proactive.
Yep.
If you're in a high stress job, if you're a single mom or your mom, you're taking care of kids. I call it the triple caretaker effect is something I've coined. And that's where middle-aged people are taking care of children,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times taking care of their elderly parents
Mm-hmm.
or someone older than them. And they're supposed to be taking care of themselves too.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a lot of pressure. You get squeezed from both ends, and then you're kind of left just as this tiny sandwich in the middle where
Yeah.
you don't really want to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was talking about this to my nanny the other day. I'm like, I was doing some spring cleaning and she came and I said, everything's done except for that, the room where my office is and where I stay. Right. So I made a joke to her. I said, of course, the mom comes last, but it's your point. It's like you're taking care of everything else, making sure everything is functional and you can put yourself last. So what you're saying, doctor, is take care of yourself first
Yeah,
or
oh,
two.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Put the oxygen mask on first before you help other people.
Yeah, it's like the airplane analogy, right? You got to be good to help
Yeah,
others.
absolutely.
So great talking to you, Dr. Ken Ro, with us tonight on Newsroom Live. Thank you for being with us, doctor.
Stephanie, it's my pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
a lot.